What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another brand new installment of For the Love of Wrestling. I, of course, am your host, the Renegade of Wrestling, JJ Williams. Happy Friday. It's good to see y'all here as we wrap up the week here on For the Love of Wrestling. I want to go ahead and get this out of the way right now. I was insanely distracted last night during Impact. I did watch it. I do have my notes as I always do, but there may have been subtle little things that I missed or didn't pick up on because there was a lot of chaos going on in and around here when it was starting. So I apologize in advance. I'm pretty sure Datilla is in the chat room, so if I missed something, I'm sure she'll chime in with a comment that I can then throw up and piggyback off of. But I just wanted to throw that out there. I apologize if this review isn't as detailed as some of my other ones are. That being said, last night's episode of Impact kicked off with an in memoriam graphic for Toby Keith. Try saying that 5 times fast. Toby Keith, of course, the country music superstar who performed both live on stage doing a song, as well as competing in the 20-man gauntlet for the gold at the very first TNA Weekly pay-per-view event. He goes back many years with Jeff Jarrett, longtime fan and friends of the Jarretts. So it was very nice to see a little memoriam graphic for him at the top of the show. Opening contest was Chris Sabin versus John Schuyler. Good opening contest here. Know Sabin very well, still getting to know Schuyler. Crowd was chanting, "You still suck" at Schuyler for some reason. I don't know why. I don't think he sucks. Maybe just the typical heel heat. You know, was he something to write home to mama about? No. But was he Eva Marie level shit? No. So I don't get why they were chanting, "You still suck" at him. Sabin hit the cradle shock for the pin, and we move backstage to an Alex Shelley interview regarding his match, which is the main event for the evening against Eddie Edwards of the System. And this is your standard interview, you know, just kind of hyping the match. I didn't get too much of what he was saying. Again, there was a lot of chaos going on around here. Next match was Tasha Steelz versus Zaya Brookside. This was a good match, although I felt it was a little bit on the short side. And that was a little bit of a recurring theme throughout the night. There are a few matches that I felt were really starting to pick up steam and were really starting to develop well, and then they seemed to end shortly. So I don't know what's going on there. Maybe we need a little bit less backstage segments, and that way we can give a little bit extra time to the matches. Tasha Steelz got the victory here with a handful of tights. I'm sure this will set up a rematch down the road. Probably going to start working a small program because I know both women were in the Ultimate X match at Hard to Kill. So there very well could be something going on here more long term that I'm not seeing right now. But I wanted more for this match, and I felt like I didn't really get it. Backstage, we had another promo from ABC, Ace Austin and Chris Bay. And they're talking about their best of 3 series with the Grizzled Young Vets, saying how they have no love for them. The Grizzled Young Vets run in and attack, and they smash Ace Austin's hand in one of those rolling production trunks. Of course, match 2 in their series will be next week on Impact. Looking forward to that. Willing to bet match 3 will be at No Surrender. Looking forward to seeing that. This feud has been outstanding so far with what I've seen. And I'm looking forward to the resolution because although the gimmick may have been dumb in my NXT, the dyad, the schism, and everything, I always thought that the men now known as the Grizzled Young Vets were outstanding competitors, and I'm enjoying this more aggressive side of them. We then had a backstage interview trying to, maybe not an interview, but a backstage segment. Frankie Kazarian was walking the hallways and Jake Something encountered him. Jake Something basically said that he used to respect Frankie and he doesn't now that he's turned his back on the fans. So it looks like we're going to get a Jake Something Frankie Kazarian program. I don't remember if they announced something for Impact next week or if they're going to build this up a little bit more before we get to the match. Maybe at No Surrender. We'll have to see what happens. Next match of the night was Speedball Mike Bailey versus Zachary Wentz. This was a tremendous, fast-paced match. Your standard X Division action here. Wentz snagged the victory, which was a surprise to me. And then Trey Miguel and Zachary Wentz went to beat down Mike Bailey. Trent Seven came out to even the odds, but then Steve Macklin hit the ring, turning the odds back into the heels' favor, which of course brought out Nick Nemeth. And once again, evened the odds. Honestly, this to me was match/segment of the night. No disrespect to anything that came before it or after it, but just all the weaving of the storytelling and the different particles in this, from Zachary Wentz to Mike Bailey to bringing in Trey Miguel. So now you got the Rascals involved, bringing out Trent Seven, then Macklin coming in, and Nick Nemeth coming in, and Nemeth and Macklin are feuding. Just the weaving of all the different elements of the storytelling here, I thought was sensational, and the match was top notch as well. We then had a Khan promo, and then we see Trinity and Jordan Grace leaving the locker room to begin making their way to the arena. We then have a Rhino promo that was addressing Crazy Steve's attack from Explosion, which I reviewed on Wednesday. You can go back and check that out. Rhino says that he doesn't care about digital media, but he does care about gold. So we're going to be getting a Crazy Steve versus Rhino match coming very soon for the Digital Media Championship. Looking forward to that. I'd love to see Rhino get it, but for some reason, I think Crazy Steve is going to retain it this time because I know Crazy Steve hasn't had the belt for too terribly long. But Rhino with the Digital Media title would take me back to when Rhino was the ECW television champion. Like, I just think it would be a great little throwback there. We then had Trinity and Jordan Grace versus Giselle Shaw and Savannah Evans. This was tremendous knockouts tag team action in what is more than likely Trinity's farewell to TNA. I'm still not sold on Giselle Shaw or Savannah Evans, but we'll see what happens over time. I know Giselle Shaw is supposed to be challenging Jordan Grace for the title at No Surrender. I hope Jordan Grace retains. I'm just coming around to Jordan Grace, but I am not sold on Giselle Shaw. I'm sorry. And before people can get out there and start hating on me, it has nothing to do with the fact that she's a transgender performer. There's just something about her that's not clicking for me. I feel that she can be good, she can be champion, but there's just something that's not clicking to take her to that level, in my opinion, yet. Again, I'll acknowledge the fact that I'm still new to TNA. So people like Datilla, like Noah Foster, who've been watching for a long time, may have seen what they need to see to buy into her. Not yet for me. We then had a backstage segment with Diener, who said he's had a run of bad luck lately. AJ Francis enters the fray and tries to propose that he be Diener's benefactor. They say a certain man's name, and he appears. Joe Hendry comes in, and he begins insulting AJ Francis. I will say here, because I know that people on the Multiverse Media team wanted to see what I thought of this segment. And while I still do not believe in Joe Hendry, I did find myself chuckling at the segment, especially the way they set his entry up by mentioning him. Then the intro of his music played, the say his name and he appears, and the way that Diener and Hendry both did the hand clap. I was cracking up. That was pretty funny. Not enough to make me believe, but funny. I will give that. We then had a squash match between Khan and two jobbers. I felt like this was a waste of time considering how short the Zaya Brookside and Tasha Steelz match was. You could have gotten rid of this altogether and given the time to them, thrown this match on Explosion instead of showing highlights from a classic TNA match like they do. They could have put this in there. The only thing of really note that happened here was PCO came out after the squash match and began brawling with Khan. I have a feeling we're going to get Khan versus PCO at No Surrender. And of course, I'm a huge PCO fan because of the subtle nods that are used for the Universal Monsters. We had Josh Alexander versus Alan Angels in another short match, but intense and very well put together. We had Josh Alexander make Alan Angels submit to an ankle lock. Post-match, Simon Gotch, formerly of the Vaudevillains, jumped the barricade and attacked Alexander. Not sure what that was about, but I'm curious to see what happens here in the coming weeks. Main event was Alex Shelley versus Eddie Edwards. And again, chaos ensued in the house. I don't have full notes for this, but what I do recall seeing, it was an intense match as we keep this feud going between Shelley and the System. Of course, Shelley is getting his rematch at No Surrender against Moose for the title. We had the System come out and get involved. We had Kushida, and I want to say his name was Kevin Knight. I know his last name was Knight. I forget his first name. I think it's Kevin Knight. Come out and kind of even the odds up, helping Shelley. So we may be getting a 6-man match here in the weeks leading up to No Surrender. All in all, it was a solid show. I wish I had been able to give more attention to it than I did. Shenanigans are a thing sometimes. Hashtag shenanigans. Buy the shirt. I am going to give Impact a 7.5 out of 10 for this week because I feel like the squash match between Khan and the Jobbers didn't need to happen. That TV time could have gone to Tasha Steelz and Zaya Brookside. And I feel like there were just a couple too many backstage segments. You know, they're not WWE. They're not AEW. I would rather the pace of the show flow a little bit quicker and not use as much time for insignificant backstage stuff. I get that this very well was Trinity's last match in TNA. Did we really need to see her and Jordan Grace leaving the locker room to head to the ring? Or could we have given that 30 seconds, 45 seconds to another match? Did we really need the con squash match? Or could we give in that few minutes to another match? You know what I mean? It's like little things like that. What did you guys think of TNA Impact this week? Let me know. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Gonna take a quick commercial break. Then we'll come back, hit the shills as we always do, and get out of here. This is where you can find and follow all of us across the Jeff Meacham Network Multiverse of Media. Get your fingers ready to screenshot. Be right back.
And now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
And we are back. Want to thank everybody that joined me and tuned in today as I gave my review of TNA Impact. If you guys are enjoying me reviewing TNA Impact and Explosion, let me know. Leave comments, thumb the video up, share the video, send super thanks. When you see me on live, send super chats. Let me know that you appreciate my coverage here. In just a little under an hour, make sure you guys tune in right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, as well as over on the Jeff Meacham Network, as the latest episode of Dad's Not Always on Wrestling takes a look at the top 10 Beatles songs as we celebrate the 60th anniversary of the Fab Four's first appearance on The Ed Sullivan Show, which was 60 years ago today. It was a Sunday in 1964, February 9th. The Beatles took the stage at The Ed Sullivan Show, and the world was changed forever. This Sunday, we will be presenting a special pro sports watch-along, 3 o'clock Pacific, 6 o'clock Eastern, as Statboy Mike, Dory Lou, and some of the sports bar regulars host a watch-along of the Super Bowl. This is a first time ever across a good chunk of the multiverse of media. So make sure you guys tune in, show your love, show your support, super chat, like the video. Otherwise, we may not ever do another pro sports watch along. But if the numbers are up and the ratings are up and we get the love and the support, then maybe we will do watch alongs for the World Series, for the NBA Finals, for the Stanley Cup, for the Indy 500, for Wimbledon, for all kinds of major pro sports events. And then, of course, the next time we will be doing a watch along for TNA Wrestling will be Friday, February 23rd, as Noah Foster and Dattila call the action for No Surrender. Lots of good stuff coming up here across the multiverse of media. Of course, make sure you guys tune in on Monday, same bat time, same bat channel, as I give my thoughts and review the weekend in pro wrestling, AEW Rampage, SmackDown, Collision, all the good stuff there. Again, same bad time, same bad channel. You're a little bit late, sweetheart, as I've already discussed everything from Impact. Doing the plugs now so I can get out of here and get everything all set up for Dad's Not Always on Wrestling. Again, that'll kick off at the top of the hour, 10 o'clock Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. Thank you all for joining me and tuning in today, and I will see you guys next time.
The Jeff Meacham Network's Multiverse of Media. For over 15 years, the recognized symbol of excellence and the standard bearer in coverage of sports and entertainment.
Thank you, JJ. Appreciate you.